Peter King put out his power rankings this week, and I'm going to list them off to you. Kansas City, number 1, Tampa Bay, number 2, Buffalo, number 3, and the Cleveland Browns, number 4. They are ahead of number 5, San Francisco, 6, LA, 7, Baltimore, and 8, Green Bay. Those are the notable teams that they're in front of, 1 through 8. So, no disrespect here to Peter King. Is he crazy?
You go, Scott.
You want me to go? This is the week for power rankings because last week I actually started grabbing some of the early ones that came out. I found the Browns ranked 8th, 7th, 6th, 5th, and 4th in power rankings, and it was always KC, Tampa Bay, Buffalo, in every single one of those, and then it was how you felt about Green Bay and Baltimore basically. But Bleacher Report also had them 4th overall, and I don't think it's so crazy. I think we went through our whole power ranking in the AFC for the podcast, and I mean you can make an argument that other than the Chiefs and the Bills, they're right there with anybody else in at least the AFC. So no, I don't think it's crazy.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, it's not. When you look at some of these other teams, San Francisco at number 5 is going to have a new starting quarterback, a rookie, and sometimes, quite often, there are growing pains, but they're also getting Nick Bosa back, and just collectively as a team, they should be much better if they get good quarterback play. LA, you know what? I mean, LA could end up being really, really good with Matt Stafford there. So that'll be interesting. The Browns took some of their defensive guys, but they still are coming off a number 1 ranking on defense overall. Baltimore, that's one where I actually think this might be kind of low. I mean, I think they improved their team this offseason, and that might be a little bit low at number 7. But this next tier after that top 3, you could go a bunch of different ways, and a case can be made that any one of them can go at number 4, including the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, I think it just speaks to the potential upside of this team. Like you said, Scott, they're all over the board, right? That's in between that range of those numbers, but a lot of those teams are interchangeable, right? If Baker Mayfield does what Josh Allen did last year, then maybe the Browns pass Buffalo. Maybe they pass Baltimore. I mean, that's sort of what it comes down to, is what all these quarterbacks kind of do in these next years. What's Lamar Jackson do? Does he have another level that he can get to? That might kind of dictate where Baltimore ends up. So I don't know. I wouldn't put the Browns this high if I were doing power rankings, but having them at 4 is a little more, it makes more sense to me than having San Francisco at 5. If we're being honest, I think that feels a little bit high for San Francisco, even though I think they'll be a good football team again this year. But yeah, I don't think he's crazy. I like I said, I wouldn't put him there, but there's a case, and he's making it. So, good for him.
Well, who would you put there, Dan?
I just can't put the Browns ahead of Baltimore. I would go, so let's see. I would go Kansas City, Tampa, Buffalo. I'm going to put the Rams there. I put the Rams 4, Baltimore 5, and the Browns 6. And that's just kind of off the top of my head.
I mean, I think that's fair. I think that there is that next group in the 4,
and maybe
5,
Green
6,
Bay. If I know Aaron Rodgers is going to be in Green Bay, I'd have to kind of figure out where to slot them to.
Yes, absolutely. And a lot of it's going to have to do with how does Matt Stafford assimilate into that Rams team, and how does he play, and how did he and Sean McVay click together in their first season? I mean, if they're dynamite together, then those guys can potentially be amazing. I'm very anxious to see where 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 end up.